This is KGW News at noon.
Terrifying moments on a plane in Japan after a collision on a runway in Tokyo. Reuters obtained this video from a passenger showing the smoke filling up the cabin and the huge flames outside the window. The Japan Airlines Airbus jet hit a Coast Guard aircraft that was on its way to deliver aid after a series of earthquakes hit Japan's west coast. Thank you for joining us at noon. I'm Christine Pitawanich. 5 people died in the Coast Guard plane, but everyone survived on the Japan Airlines plane. NBC's Megan Fitzgerald has the details from London.
Good to be with you. Look, though the people on the passenger plane were able to escape, Japan's transport minister is confirming that 5 people on board that Coast Guard flight have died. The pilot, the only one to escape alive. The collision happening hours ago on the runway in Tokyo, a passenger aircraft bursting into flames after colliding with that Coast Guard plane that we are now learning was in fact set to deliver aid to the areas affected by the earthquake. Meanwhile, first responders are desperately looking for survivors on Japan's western coast as the death toll from a series of earthquakes passes 45. We're also now seeing the scope of the devastation. Homes and buildings flattened, private roads and streets buckled, some neighbors returning to their home to get a first look at what the devastation looks like for them. But right now, officials say this really is a race against time for crews that are digging through the rubble, trying to find survivors. Megan Fitzgerald, NBC News, London.
Yeah, devastating for sure. But back to that plane collision, Japan Airlines flight attendants are being credited with saving passengers' lives thanks to their quick actions. Back in March of 2022, NBC News' Tom Costello went behind the scenes of training with Delta. He saw what flight attendants practice, things like opening doors, releasing emergency slides, and providing critical communication.
One of the key factors is the early reports are that the flight attendants made an announcement, leave your belongings, come this way, and people follow those instructions. They didn't try to get their luggage out, and that speeds up the evacuation, which when you have a full A350, which is about 380 people, and you want to get them out within 90 seconds, this is the way you do it. You follow the instructions, you go to the exit, you get on the slide, and you get away from the aircraft. And that's what happened here. And that's why it was so successful.
Tonight on Nightly News at 5:30, Tom's insight into where the investigation is focused right now and why it reinforces worries the NTSB has about flights in the U.S. Now to rural Washington County, where one person died in a shooting at a wedding venue. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says it happened around 9:30 this morning at Horning's hideout on Brunswick Canyon Road. That's in North Plains. Deputies found a man dead, but have not given any more information about what led up to the shooting. They did take someone into custody, but that person is being released. We reached out to the owners of Horning's hideout to see if the man who died was attending a wedding. We'll get back to you with updates. And with the start of the new year, TriMet fares have increased. It's the first time TriMet has raised fares in more than a decade. You can see the breakdown there on your screen. An adult 2.5-hour pass has gone up by 30 cents. A day pass increased double that amount. Now it's at $5.60. Honored citizen and youth prices went up too. The new prices you can see right there. The monthly fare for hop passes stayed the same. And PGE is raising its prices too. On average, residential customers can expect an 18% increase on their electric bill. For small businesses, it's an average 14% increase. PGE cites the rising cost of fuel to power its plants, along with a need to upgrade its systems. But here's a little good news. There's a rate discount program for people who are low income, and the amount people can save is going up. That means some people could get up to 60% off their bill. Check to see if you qualify at portlandgeneral.com. The OLCC is making changes for companies that deliver alcohol. We're talking companies like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Instacart. The state is now requiring those companies to get a permit and come up with a training program for their drivers. The OLCC says this change will bring third-party delivery services to the same standard as stores and restaurants selling alcohol. They want to make sure drivers don't deliver to someone underage or visibly intoxicated. But even though the new permit program is in place, the OLCC is allowing delivery without an approved training program in place.
We've allowed these companies, because it's so late in the year that we're kicking this off, we've allowed them to jumpstart their program. So essentially they can begin delivery January 1st, even if they haven't gotten their curriculum approved by us.
Yeah, that said, they have to have a state-approved training program for their drivers. OLCC tells us 10 companies have applied for the permits and 2 others are awaiting approval. Okay, let's get to a little weather. Chris, a pleasant sight for skiers and boarders at Mountain Hood today.
Check this out. I mean, ordinarily this wouldn't be a thing, but the way this winter has gone, this is a thing. It is snowing right now, hard actually at Timberline, where it looks like we've got a fresh dusting on the ground or more in some cases. In fact, let's take you a little lower. That should say Highway 35 at Meadows Drive. This is about 4,800 feet, and you can see a snow-covered Highway 35 there. In fact, I've seen snow in the air as low as the Parkdale area, which is about 1,600 feet on the east slopes of Mount Hood at this noon hour. Okay. That's the good news for the skiers. We got a little bit of snow up there, a little bit, and I think there's more to come. For the rest of us, it's rain, and in fact, we're actually on the back edge of the steady rain here in Portland right now. Here's a look at the progress that rain has made over the last 3 hours, and you can see this big shield of rain that's kind of worked its way on through, and now we're kind of looking for a break in that radar action as we look off to the south and west. In fact, it looks like the rain may have temporarily shut off here at the Reserve Golf Course and Vineyard in Aloha, and we go out to Newport and some bright spots in the clouds there. I'm not saying that we're going to clear by any means, but the steady rain should be tapering off here in just a little bit. It's 44 last check at PDX, so a coolish afternoon, and the temperatures are not going very far, by the way. We'll probably hang out right in those mid-40s. I'll keep the chance of rain going in the forecast here for the rest of this afternoon, Christine, but again, the lion's share of the steady rain is about to wrap up here in the metro area, and then we go kind of on and off, mostly off for a while as we go into this afternoon. Your 7-day forecast with a look ahead to some more Cascade snow. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. Several patients in southern Oregon have died as a result of infections allegedly caused by a nurse who switched out prescription fentanyl with tap water at a Medford hospital. Maximus Osborne with our sister station KOBI has the story.
Multiple sources say an Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center nurse injected multiple patients with tap water in an attempt to cover up their misuse of the hospital's supply of pain medication, specifically fentanyl. We're told inside RRMC's intensive care unit, as many as 9 or 10 people developed infections and died. Medford police declined to provide details, only confirming it is investigating a situation at RRMC. Our sources tell us the tap water, which is not sterile, led to multiple infections of Pseudomonas. The host of our Docs on Call program, Dr. Robin Miller, says that type of infection can be very dangerous in people in poor health, exactly the kind of people you'd find in a hospital's ICU.
It can cause sepsis, pneumonia. It can infect all the organs. So it can be a very severe infection.
At this time, no one has been charged with a crime, but it needs to be repeated. Police are still investigating. We previously reached out to Asante on Friday about these allegations. It declined an interview, but provided a brief statement. Quote, "We were distressed to learn of this issue. We reported it to law enforcement and are working closely with them." End quote. This weekend, Asante's board chair declined further comments, but said it is now a police matter. Meanwhile, Dr. Robin Miller says that switching out a patient's medication for personal misuse, what our sources say the nurse did in this case, is called drug diversion.
You don't think of medical professionals doing this, but 10% of medical professionals divert drugs. 10%. That's a lot.
According to various reports, fentanyl is one of the most commonly diverted drugs. It happens across the country in hospitals. But what Dr. Miller doesn't understand is why tap water was allegedly used. She says there should be sterile options available that wouldn't put the patients at risk.
That was Maximus Osborne reporting. Back in our area, an investigation is underway to determine if Longview police killed a person in a shooting. It happened yesterday morning in the Columbia Heights neighborhood. Here's what we know. Around 5 o'clock, Longview officers were dispatched to that home. Once they arrived, Longview police say shots were fired and one person was killed. Neighbors tell KGW that a man and his son live inside the home, and they're shaken up about what happened.
I just do not understand what's going on in this town because I feel that over the years it definitely has changed.
Changed to a neighbor.
The Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office is leading the investigation. Street racers took over Portland streets again this weekend, blocking traffic with police nowhere to be seen. You can see that video there. Several viewers sent these types of videos to us of cars pulling dangerous stunts in the middle of crowds. This one was taken Saturday on Marine Drive in North Portland. We spoke to a rideshare driver who had a passenger inside his car when he got caught up in a different street takeover an hour later around 1 in the morning New Year's Eve. We don't have video of that takeover near Northeast Cully and Prescott, but the driver, who did not want to speak on camera, says he's concerned for everyone's safety.
It stops traffic for one, but for the big thing, and this is the main reason why I hate it, is it's a major safety issue. People have died because of this. People have been killed because of this.
He says he called 911 but never saw police on scene. We reached out to Portland police and have not heard back, but they've told us previously they don't always have enough officers to clear street racing events safely. There could be a major escalation in the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza after an Israeli airstrike killed the second highest ranking political leader of Hamas. The airstrike happened in the Lebanese capital of Beirut. This killing risks provoking major retaliation from Lebanon's Hezbollah militia, which supports Hamas. Hezbollah and the Israeli military have been exchanging fire almost daily over the Israeli-Lebanese border since Israel's military campaign began in Gaza. A significant response now could send the conflict spiraling into all-out war on Israel's northern border. Here at home, people protesting the war in Gaza caused major issues at PDX. Protesters blocked traffic headed to the airport. Our Catherine Cook spoke to the travelers who got caught up in the backup.
They got people backing up. No one's getting to the airport.
Cell phone video shows what happened as pro-Palestinian demonstrators gathered on Airport Way Monday afternoon. The caravan of about 50 cars began blocking inbound lanes to PDX around 3:30. For about an hour, they halted traffic for travelers trying to reach the airport on New Year's Day.
It took us 35 minutes to go not even 2 miles.
Alan Boyd was worried he'd miss his flight home to Las Vegas.
I'm actually seriously worried about missing my flight because my flight's at like 5:55. And it's, what, 5:10 right now?
As the protest unfolded, Port of Portland officials say officers worked to reroute traffic, including shuttle buses, to minimize the impact.
They are redirecting everybody.
For some travelers, it wasn't enough. In fact, we saw some folks who had abandoned their rides and were running next to cars, pulling wheeled suitcases behind them, just hoping to make their flights. Many people, like Angie Christensen, were just glad they made it.
We're here. We're getting home, so that's the important part.
This was one of several recent demonstrations opposing the conflict in Gaza. Most recently, protesters blocked traffic on the Burnside Bridge.
There's a time and place for everything, and during holidays, like disrupting families getting home, is not time to do it.
In Northeast Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.